Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News. I've always been a firm believer in promoting women. In fact, our Disney style covers, when I was the editor at the time, were predominantly women. We would support their brands, cause, or launches with media coverage, and this has continued with my predecessor. So while I will not in any way, shape, or form downplay efforts women make to encourage and support each other, I'm afraid some, notice I said some, not all, women still do not do enough within their power to press the forward button for other women to grow in the path of success. This statement might ruffle a few feathers, but if we're truly honest with ourselves as women, why in this day and age do women still refuse to acknowledge other women's successes? And worse still, malign or try to sabotage it? If you're in a position to assist in a woman's trajectory to success, why be a clog, directly or indirectly, in her will? It has been said several times that women can be their own worst enemies. Men can overlook a grudge and do mutually benefiting businesses together. But women, on the other hand, will overlook such opportunity of some grudge or the other, because of some grudge or the other. We turn on each other instead of fighting the very system or people who oppress us. Annoying as this sounds to the ears, one cannot but reluctantly and sadly acknowledge that there's some iota of truth in these words. When women stand together and support each other's achievements more, it challenges the notion that women are in competition or that their success is limited. This can help change societal attitudes and promote a more inclusive and equal society.
A more inclusive and equal society is indeed what we want. Historically, the political, economical, and cultural structure of the world has been especially hard on women. Women have faced difficulties in breaking barriers and in finding a niche to thrive and excel. Today, women who have risen above limitations such as unequal pay, marital suppression, and mental slavery are collaborating rather than competing to support each other in every way of life. Every human has the right to enjoy the highest attainable standard of education, financial freedom, and physical and mental health necessary to live a happy and fulfilling life. Powerful women who support and help other women leave behind a very special legacy while portraying that segregation based on demographics has no basis in a progressive world. Women today need support against 1, unbalanced legal rights, 2, life suppression, 3, domestic violence, and 4, sexual harassment. Factors highly critical to women supporting women are 1, increasing representation of qualified women in decision making, 2nd, increasing access to highest quality education for every single citizen, and 3rd, increasing access to ownership of landed properties and financial assets to women and every citizen. Empowered women empower others. Women are mothers. Movements that support the rise of feminism also support an end to all forms of slavery and injustice. When a woman, human, or man excels, the world shines brighter. We would announce our special guest very soon, but right now, let's proceed to watch this unique report on women supporting women.
Teachers and students of human behavior appear to be in perpetual confusion as to why relationships between and among the two genders have been governed over time by clearly demarcated inclinations. For the men, it's mainly about staying true to the bro code, which generally translates to readiness to share and identify with one another, being passionate about fellow feeling, and a willingness to stand up and defend the interests and dignity of a fellow man at all times. Many scholars of human behavior say for the women, things are a little different in this direction. They believe that while the female gender is a classic embodiment of love and affection, a growing number of women tend to waste so little of these virtues on fellow women, and as a matter of fact, have shown considerable willingness to celebrating the opposite gender instead. There is a proviso, however. To what extent anyone is ready to accept those two positions is in many ways a matter of conjecture and governed more by the laws of individual choice. What stands out, however, are the many societal assumptions, some of them usually expressed in the following ways about women. Without the Mrs. title, women are unfairly judged by other women. How true? If a woman is beautiful and successful, she is accused of sleeping her way to the top. Just how true? Women fight for their rightful place at the top with very few openings. Women are judged by their looks and not their merit. Societal dictates and norms have imbibed this why her and not me syndrome in women. For the men, the overarching assumption is they can shove their issues aside and get on with whatever that is mutually benefiting to them. This emotional diatribe against women is usually closed out with this one. Women always allow emotions becloud their reasoning. In all of these, the question remains, do women support women enough?
Big topic.
Yes, it's a good topic, and I like the topic because it's something that I feel very strongly about. I always feel that, you know, a lot of successful women are not very popular, unfortunately. For some reason or the other, they're either hated, envied, unfairly judged, or what have you.
Successful women?
Successful women, obviously, if they're not successful, they won't even
Hated
come
by
to
who?
play. They are usually hated by other women or unfairly
successful.
judged by other women, especially this idea of sleeping your way to the top. That, oh, you know, she must have slept her way to the top, otherwise, how can she be so successful? And the truth of the matter is that drives differ in different people.
Right.
Some people are more driven than others, and you have to accept and appreciate when somebody is successful in what they do or when they've achieved one feat or the other. Give credit where credit is due. I'm not saying that it's not a popularity contest. I understand that you cannot be liked by all. And quite frankly, the earlier you begin to accept that you cannot be liked by all, the easier it makes your life just becomes. But the truth of the matter is that give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely. So I think this all falls down to gender equality. So historically, since the beginning of time, women have been suppressed economically, financially, and so the rise in economic power, in leadership, in financial power is actually a struggle. So many women have to go through so much to attain that. And with this whole women supporting women, there have been really historically great women who support other women in coming up. So I think when they are hated or when they are disliked, is maybe when they are not sharing the knowledge, not supporting other women,
That's not true.
not really being there to hold women up.
There are women who support women. There are women who have been an inspiration to other women. There are women who encourage other women that look up to them and aspire towards them. But like I said, you cannot be liked by all. Yes. Some would like you, some would not. That's acceptable.
If I were to run for president next, would you support me?
That depends. It depends on the kind of rapport that I have with you. It depends on whether or not I have it.
No, me. You already know.
That's what I'm saying. There's no need for it to make it personal. I'm just saying it depends on the individual that is running, the kind of rapport that you have with the individual.
Asking for me, but okay.
Good luck to you if you want to run for president. But I'm saying it's not about you and I. We're talking generally now about women supporting other women. And I would naturally support some women more than I would others because of the rapport that I have with them.
Right.
So it's all.
So maybe the women that hate that woman that is successful is
hate is a big word to use.
Hate you said it. I'm just saying that's what you said.
No, don't put words in my mouth.
You said
I said hate is a big word to use. It's a harsh word to use.
Yeah, did you say that earlier?
No. Women, for some reason or the other, whether justifiable or not, do not like other women, do not encourage other women. Hate is a passionate...
the woman is successful.
Yes.
Just because of that?
Yes. Hate is a strong word to use. So don't use the word loosely. If I even said it before, obviously...
You're right, I heard it from you.
Anyway, that's wrong. Hate is a strong word to use. Hate is too strong. You cannot hate somebody that you don't know that well.
But I think women are still fighting for gender equality and just
apart
basic
from
human
the fact that
rights.
women are fighting from gender
and this
equality.
is all over the world, not just Nigeria.
I know.
And we look at Nigeria now, it's only 4% women representation in the entire National Assembly, and it reduced. There's no women representation in governorship across the entire 37 states.
We know that.
Women are being suppressed on a daily basis. So I think there was
that doesn't mean that you
said,
should not support somebody else, even if you are being suppressed on a daily basis. That doesn't mean. So let's not.
I think when women get there, there's just so much work for them to do.
Well, there's so much work and there's very little space.
I don't think it's intentional that they're not supporting other women.
But
those that are doing it intentionally,
that's what we're saying. That's the bane of the conversation today. Those that are doing it intentionally, those that for some reason or the other would not give a woman her due credit, those that will not acknowledge a woman's success.
So the topic is women who are not supporting women.
Yes, that's the topic today.
Women. Okay.
The headline says so. Do women support fellow women enough? So that is the essence of the conversation today. Do they support each other enough? Can we do more? If we can do more, what are the things that we should do? Do you understand?
And it starts with us as co-hosts.
Of course, we are women now, so
women should always support each other.
Always try and support each other. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm saying. Don't take it personal and say me or you or whatever. We're talking generally now.
Yeah, and that includes us as leaders. As
women should always support women. Anyway, we are heading for a short break, but stay with us because we'll be right back. And when we do, it will be time to have a heart-to-heart with our distinguished guests, lawyer and women activists, Amina Oyagbola and media mogul Mo Abudu. Perspectives will return in just a moment.
Welcome back. Time to introduce our guests for today. First is Amina Oyagbola, an independent director and business management consultant with over 30 years of experience in the legal field. She is the founder and chairperson of Whisker, Women in Successful Careers. She has been bestowed with several awards in recognition of her contributions to diversity, gender equality, and women empowerment. Welcome to your very first episode of Perspectives. Amina Oyagbola, glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really pleased to be here.
Indeed, we also have joining us my very good friend, Mo Abudu, CEO of Ebony Life Media, a woman who has been described by Forbes as Africa's most successful woman and listed as one of the 100 most powerful women in the world. After her foray into the corporate world, Mo Abudu launched Ebony Life TV, Africa's first global black entertainment lifestyle network. Mo also oversees Ebony Life Media, Ebony Life Films, and Ebony Life Studios, as well as Ebony Life Creative Academy. Also, Ebony Life Place, Nigeria's first luxury entertainment resort. She has also produced several blockbusters that have been phenomenally successful, not to mention her several production collaborations with international studios. Mo Abudu is highly sought after for her knowledge of the African and global creative industry. Through the years, Mo has been a recipient of numerous awards and international recognitions too. Too many to mention, but most intimidatingly impressive as the global ambassador she is today. Musumola, and this is me editing the script for both of you, trying to cut it short. Because if I had to describe two of you, we'll spend 1 hour for the whole thing. I want to start with you. You want to start with me? Very troublesome bestow. I want to start with you.
We're on live TV.
I know, let's tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I would do, I promise.
Thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Yes.
It's my first time on Perspective.
I know.
Mine as well.
Yes, thank you so much for supporting our show as well. Now, Mo, as you know, women fall into two categories. You've just been announced as one of the 100 most powerful women in the world. So there are women who would either celebrate you, congratulate you, be with you, and that, or there are some who would just be quiet. Deadening silence, I call it. Meanwhile, if they say Mo Abudu was dating this or dating that or dating that, your phone will ring non-stop. So how do you feel about this kind of behavior?
I want to say that this is such a great topic that we're addressing today because there's just so much hypocrisy around it. And I think the most important thing is that we first have to accept that there is a problem. And, I don't think we do. I think a lot of women just brush it off and just think, well, I'm not like that. But there is, because the numbers don't lie, right? So for me, in terms of the two camps, you're going to have the camp of people that love you, that appreciate you, that support you. And there's the other camp that, I believe a lot in my gut instinct in terms of what is it saying to me? How am I feeling about specific things? And you instinctively know, if you follow your gut instinct, that some people are just not sincere. But it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, you smile and you say thank you. So you know instinctively who is supporting you and those that don't. And I think as women, we know. As you said, if it's a piece of bad news, there's a particular camp of people that, because every now and again, the bad news comes. Some people go and cook up all kinds of stories. My phone does not stop, literally, Ruth, Mo, what happened? Bele? What is all this?
But it's mostly women or both genders?
It's women. Hardly any men, but I must admit, one or two men also.
Yeah, they probably act like women.
So this happens. Amo, don't mind this, don't do that, don't mind, God bless you. The Lord is your strength. You hear all of that. And then there are those that are always there for you, come rain or shine. That you know that they are sincere, they're going to call you, they're going to ask how you are, and they really do mean it, So there's always going to be the two camps. And I think, I've come to accept it, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure how to change it. And there are so many events and there are so many conferences about women, supporting women. I have a new show.
Is it conferences?
I have a new show that I've interviewed a few women on already, and they say the same thing. We face the same challenge that women aren't supporting each other.
Now, okay. Let me ask Amina. Like we were discussing earlier on, of course I'm not going to call names. If you are conservative looking, you're almost borderline frumpy. No, seriously. But you're extremely successful. Yeah. I have never heard one of such women being accused of, quote unquote, sleeping their way to the top. But you see a woman who is beautiful and successful, and there's other women, it's not even just the men, would say, oh, she slept her way to the top. And I find that extremely infuriating and really unfair. And it's usually women that say these things. Yeah. A man would follow the same trajectory, be equally as successful. They won't say the man slept his way to the top. So why do women do this?
Well, let me say that, first of all, thanks very much for inviting me to the show. It's really great to be here, and especially great to be here with my darling Abudu, who we're also proud of. It happens. Let me say something. Life is such that, even in the Bible, there's, one of the 10 commandments says, do not covet. Which means that there's an underlying assumption that the very nature of human beings is that we covet what other people have. Now, because there's such few successful women at the top, I mean, you are successful, Mo.
Oh. So are you.
You are beautiful. Now you alone.
So are you.
I don't think that they mean harm by it. And this issue of, what really gets to me is when people want to pull women down.
Yeah.
And suggest that they only got there through this
So
other means. It's very unfair. We should be focusing on merit. We should be focusing on accomplishment and achievement. We should be focusing on hard work. But a lot of these things are born out of, societal stereotypes and societal norms, which have existed over time, and by the way, which have been reinforced by men. Women have been socialized over time, and they just reinforce this issue because of the scarcity of women at the top. Yes. So when there's such few people there, and either because they feel insecure, they feel that it's so hard to get there, you have to make too many sacrifices to get there, then the natural thing is to say things that will help to pull the women down. It's nobody's business who's sleeping with who. And that's my view of the world.
On that note of societal norms, do you believe that marriage plays a limiting factor for many women? Over 700 million women globally are married off by the age of 18. A majority of them are from underprivileged and poor backgrounds. Do you think women can attain their highest potentials within marriage, outside of marriage, or it doesn't matter?
That's a very good question. But I think definitely that there definitely will be limitations if a woman marries too young, because that gets in the way of her, acquiring a full education, becoming a graduate, making choices. That just opens up opportunities and a pathway for them to advance, and which is why I'm a strong advocate I'm against, child marriages, and I think we should all, speak to that. So, but let's not knock marital relations. If you find your soulmate and your life's partner, marriage can be a beautiful thing. I'm blessed to have found my life's partner, my life's soulmate, and I cannot take the credit for where I am solely. I would not be where I am today without the support of my husband, who is my number one cheerleader. I would not be where I am without the support of my father and the male figures in my life, and my mother and my support system, my sisters.
Does it work majorly for successful people middle, upper class. So I want you to sort of focus on like the lower class where women
I think it's
nothing.
regardless of class. I think that if you happen to find, if you're fortunate to get into a supportive union, you know, then that will support you in your career and whatever it is, you know, that you are pursuing. Because hopefully, if somebody is supportive, we can assume that the person is open-minded and that the person wants to enable you in whichever way he can. Whether the person is at the bottom of the social strata or at the top, it makes very little difference. I know people who are extremely wealthy, very strong, powerful, wealthy men who are very, very narrow-minded and very, very limited in terms of what they will allow, you know, their wives, you know, to do.
Speaking of even the marriage issue, Mo, do you also think that a woman is unfairly judged by other women if she's not married but extremely successful?
I think that there are double standards by men and by women. And I think that sometimes women judge other women based on their own capabilities. You know, because if I can only take myself as an example. I'm here today, I'm dressed up, I've done my hair, I've done my makeup, but it means that I've had to invest time in looking this way. I don't just wake up in the morning and look like this, you know, as much as anybody. So, you know, it's an hour to do my hair, it's an hour to do my makeup. So I have to invest that time. And other women may not be willing to do that. So if we both find ourselves at an event and I'm looking like this, and you're not happy about the fact that I'm looking like this, all I can suggest is that you spend 2 extra hours in the morning, getting up at 6 or 7 a.m. or whatever time I do to do those things. So there are those double standards. But outside of that, they don't know how hard you work. Now, the thing for me is that I am obsessed with my work. And you may see me and say, oh, here's this most glamorous woman. How does she do it? When this wig is off, when these lashes are off, when everything around me is off, and I am with my team, they know how hard I work, and my children know how hard I work. So what I try and do is, I believe in the funnel idea. And the reason why I'm constantly having those projects dropping is because I make sure my funnel is full. I would do all kinds of transactions that I don't know if half of them are going to see the light of day. So my funnel is always full. So I would like to give some advice to those that are judging me unfairly, to say, if you really want to maybe be, you know, success is relative. I'm not where I want to be, but I thank God for where I am. Make sure your funnel is full. Keep doing those transactions.
What's nothing that you said that Ayona sends to you?
Yes. So Ayona, our dear friend, yesterday sent me this chat on Instagram, and she said, Mo, this reminded me of you. And I wrote it down, and she said, it's hard being a W woman, wealthy, relative, wanted, and well-known. And that these 3 W's people find intimidating. Because you are supposed to be wealthy, you're supposed to be wanted because you're looking beautiful, and you're supposed to be well known to a certain extent. I guess I am. So when you combine those 3, some people will find it intimidating. And I go out of my way to be friendly to some people. And I find that sometimes I get the cold shoulder, or I get the hi but not the hi. Yeah. And I read all of that. But nonetheless, I will still smile at you and I will still move on.
That's leadership. Yeah.
You know, that's leadership.
You're extraordinarily sensitive.
No, it's not about being sensitive. I know when people are real, Ruth. I can read people
maybe
like
not
a
as bad
book.
as you think it is. It might not
No,
necessarily
I
be
read
as bad.
people like a book, Ruth. You know that. You know I'm good at reading people.
You're good.
But I just, you know.
We're going on a break now. And
Yeah.
after the break, we'll come back to you, Amina. Because I have a question to ask you. Because at the end of the day, some women do support women. So I'm going to ask you about that when we come on. So let's not make it sound so.
No, it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
It is pretty bad, actually.
Now, Amina, let's start with you. Like I said, it is not all doom and gloom when it comes to women supporting women. Yes, we know women are catty, they tear each other apart, blah, 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 but there are some good women.
Of course.
And like I said, I keep saying, it's not a popularity contest. No, it depends on the rapport you have with the person. It depends on whether the respect is mutually earned between both parties. So there are some relationships that are organic and they grow. Mentor, mentee. The fact that I get along with you so well doesn't mean that I will get along with more.
No.
or the fact that Mo gets along with her doesn't mean that she will get along with you. But there are women who actually encourage and support each other. So what are the things that we need to do more to change this narrative, to focus on the positive and less on the negative?
Thanks for that question. Yes, so absolutely, women do support other women. And one of the things I've tried to do through my organization, Whisker, is to debunk that myth that women do not support other women. And what can we do? But I think there's a lot more that we can actually do. So we're doing our own little part, and there are many other wonderful organizations who are also doing fantastic work in that regard and showcase that they want to support other women, WIMBIs and so many other institutions that are too numerous to mention. But what can we do? So mentorship, sponsorship, coaching, and little bits of help. And when I'm talking mentorship and sponsorship, it doesn't need to be formalized.
Yeah, even counseling.
Yes, counseling, coaching. What kind of help? So we meet somebody at the airport because we're busy, especially successful women. When people say, oh, successful women don't help other women, it's not because they don't necessarily want to help other women, but they have so much going on.
In their
They have so much on their plate. We have to consider, put yourself in their own shoes as well. They have their own stresses, they have their families, they have their work, they have financial obligations, they have people want a little bit, everybody wants a piece of them, like more. So, we have to consider that, and sometimes you might just catch them at a time when they've just received some awful news, but you will not know that, and so maybe the way they respond to you now go away. You go away with that perception that she's awful and she's unsupportive and she's not nice, or that you're getting like 1,000 phone calls a day and everybody expects you to respond, that you're not able to respond necessarily at the time that you want to respond. But without a doubt, women support other women, and you can do that, as you said, through mentorship and sponsorship and counseling. You can do that by creating your own support networks. You can do that by just celebrating other women, which is what we've been doing. And I think that those are just small ways, and then more solidarity. Why are the statistics in terms of women in Nigeria so low? It's because we are not collaborating enough. We refuse to pull together, because if we pull together, if all the women, think about it, if all the wonderful women's groups in civil society, all the NGOs, in private sector and in government pull together, the women's movement will really be strong, and the women's agenda will really move forward.
Why are we not pulling together?
I think
the forces are still minimal.
Because of the reasons outlined, the competitive nature of,
I think it's more the competitive
of
nature.
Women, I think, is stopping that pulling together. I mean, some women will reach out and say, I've reached out to several women over the years, and for whatever reason, you're going to get all sorts of reasons as to why they don't want to be involved with that project, or they won't even, it's not even climbing up the ladder. It could be, let's collaborate on a movie, let's collaborate on a media project or whatever, so I've kind of learned that, sometimes it's just better to walk it alone and do your own thing, because you don't want it to seem as if you need them, because some women, they're suspicious unnecessarily about why you're reaching out.
the trust issue.
Yeah, the trust issue. It's because maybe they've been stung by someone else in the past, or maybe they've just think, I don't like her, I don't trust her, I don't want to, whatever their reasons are, they're there. So I have reached out to women in the past, and what I've now decided to do is that, we will try and work. We've got lots of collaborations around the world. So it's not really, for me now, a woman or a non-woman issue. It's about what are the types of projects I want to do as a media entrepreneur, and then reach out to those companies. And if there's a woman involved in that company, great. And if it's a man, so for me, it's really, my eye is on the ball about what is the project, who's in charge, man or woman, how do we get it done?
I tend to get a lot of support from women. I reach
that's
out to
good.
a lot of women.
Good.
I also help women. I tend to not see that very hefty competitive spirit, because it's so important that we hold our hands. I think she said it too, that both of you are very supportive, collaborative, and both of you also have that bond.
Last week, they honored me at Whisker.
Right.
And
there we go.
The celebration was
Powerful.
I mean, I've never in my life been celebrated that way. As I was walking in, they got my Ori key, you know, my children's names were mentioned. I'm from Ondo. I mean, it was so emotional. And then they had this competition about asking questions about my work. People in the audience had some of the answers. I was like, wow, they know the answers to these things. And they made me feel so special. They did a documentary on me. I was overwhelmed. Thank you again.
But do you also think that some women don't encourage other women because they cannot understand or comprehend the drive of women who are successful?
I don't think it's that.
You know, maybe they feel their own sense of why her, not me. They feel some sense of inadequacy or some sense of, you know, this is my mate. I see what
it's a feeling of self-doubt, and
self-doubt.
Your own insecurities,
and your own insecurities, being highlighted when you compare it to your contemporaries' success.
And then the element of envy, which you mentioned earlier.
But you see, women are in denial.
Yes.
They will not, to themselves, looking in the mirror, they're never going to say to themselves, this is why I don't like Mo. They're going to have a bunch of other reasons. But really, if you really examine it, and research tells us it's because of their own inadequacies. If they really want to be honest about it, it's because they feel you're doing things that they aren't doing. I know we spoke, I'm not saying that women, there are a lot of women that love me.
Yeah.
But I'm saying earlier we spoke about the two camps. There's the camp of those that really do love you, and there's the camp of those that pretend that they love you. And it's as simple as that. Believe me, I'm 60 in a few months.
Don't focus on that
so
camp, right?
I've had enough time in my life to read and to understand women. Yeah? And, you know, maybe your generation may be slightly different, but believe me, my generation, what I've also found is that the older people that are slightly older than me, I get on better with. And those that are younger than me, I get on better with. Those that are my peers, there's always a little bit of tension.
Why is this? Because you're successful?
It's competition.
But they have their own part. Some are housewives. Do they want to? There's so much work in what she does.
Some of them do. Some of them don't want to be housewives. But some of them are in that position because they don't know how to get out of it. And society has put them there. You know, I know there was a question earlier about women, you know, and marriage and all of that. There are men. When I was married, my husband supported me. Do you know, I mean, even till tomorrow, Tokes will support me on things. So that's not even part of the reason as to why anything happened. But the point is that men will support their wives if they're strong enough and they feel confident about it. And some men will not support their wives because some of the richest men will not even let their wives work. They just won't even allow it. So I'm just saying that there are things that we need to be able to look at, pick up on and say, how do we improve on those things as women? Do I have the answers as to what's going to make women suddenly become more effective in terms of how do we get more numbers into the House of Parliament? How do we get more people into the House of Assembly? How do we get more people into CEO positions? Until we really, truly come together, there's going to be no change. Those numbers are going to be...
I wanted to try to just talk about this concept of the scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
And it's not really just about women, it's anybody. When something is scarce, like the petrol queues, you know, when there's no fuel, everybody behaves like they're mad, right? And that manifests in competitiveness in the workplace.
But some competitiveness are healthy. No, she wants to land. I'm just saying that some competitiveness is healthy. Go on.
Yes. So when there's scarcity, and that's what we have in Nigeria, where there are few women at the very top, few women who, in quote, have been able to overcome the obstacles and the limitations to rise to the top by dint of hard work or by whatever means they've gotten there. And so, you know, the spotlight is on them. You know, they become public property, essentially. So everybody is looking at them. Everybody wants to learn from them. We hope that they will be role models. But also because you're now, you know, essentially public property, everybody also has a right to throw darts at you if you misbehave or if they judge you as having misbehaved.
Rightly or wrongly.
Yes, rightly or wrongly. And they can make whatever assumptions they want to make anyway now on social media and throw it out there, whether it's true or not. So we need to understand that. So that's why it's so important, and that's part of the work we do in my foundation, to try and ensure that we increase those numbers, because that will help foster a more nurturing, supportive, and an enabling environment.
Do you also think that social media in itself too has also heightened this jealousy or competition amongst women? You know, because social media, first and foremost, can make or break you.
Yes.
In the sense that, you know, and then secondly, social media, half of what is portrayed in social media are false perceptions. A lot of people pretend to be what they are. Their life in social media is a far cry from their lives in reality. So you look at somebody like Mo now, for instance. I don't know why we're even using you all the time for this example.
Okay, I'm here. Use me as an example.
So you look at her. But there's a Mo behind the public persona. There's a vulnerable Mo. There's a tantrum throwing Mo. There's a Mo that if you don't call her, is wahala. If you don't give her, do you understand? But people don't see that.
Yeah.
People don't see beyond the surface.
They just see the look
So
at
do
the
you
glamour.
think that it's also good to encourage, educate younger women that they should not be so quick to judge what they see in the media and try and know that there's life outside social media. So this social media does play a role in heightening jealousy, envy, and what have you, doesn't it?
Of course it does. I mean, are you on social media? Because we couldn't.
I actually.
No, she's not. Because I tried to send
I
you.
know
social media
because we
deliberately.
couldn't, because we were trying to
Yes.
tag you, and
I
they were
tried to
like,
tag her
they
too.
said they couldn't
Deliberately, I'm
tag
not.
you.
No, they couldn't.
They
I
couldn't
knew.
tag you.
Deliberately, I'm not.
Yeah.
Some I suspected that you won't be
Yeah,
on
so
social media.
social media I think it has its good and it has its bad, you know, and I think it's about how do you use it, you know. I mean, I use it for my work. I mean, I can't not have social media. I mean, I'm launching shows, I've got projects.
I'm on LinkedIn.
You know, I'm on LinkedIn as well. So people
that's
need
it.
to know. People need to know that you are there. And because social media is a platform that is attractive to a lot of, you know, different types of demographics, more so than LinkedIn is more business, you know, you find that if I launch a new TV show, I want everyone to watch my show,
Yeah.
right? So therefore, I need to be on one of the more popular
But don't
platforms.
you also think that you are totally overdrive on social media? Because
Overdrive?
I mean, you're full on.
Well, I have a social media team.
I know.
I don't even know how to.
What I'm
Ruth,
saying,
you know, I don't know how to
I
post.
know that.
For her career.
I don't
No,
even
but
know
what
how
I'm
to post.
saying, no. Unfortunately or fortunately, people will judge you based on that. Some people think that you are too much.
Yes.
You are too out there.
Yes.
You do this, lunch. You do this, you talk. You do. Some people might think, what is it now? Is it only you?
Is it only you?
What are they complaining?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I want to understand.
No, but remember we spoke about people who feel
Let me-
some sense of insecurity,
Yeah.
some sense of incompleteness.
So am I supposed to?
No, I'm not saying that you
am
are.
I supposed to
I'm
be the
saying-
crutch for that?
No. I am saying as much as we all love what you do,
Yes.
some people will be overwhelmed by you and
can I-
unfairly judge you.
Can I explain?
Do you understand what I'm
You
saying?
know, I explain.
Unfairly
Let me
judging.
explain. As I've said, my own strategy in business is to keep my funnel full.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Pipeline.
That's the pipeline. My pipeline is crazy. They haven't even seen anything yet, so they should start having headaches right now. So my funnel is permanently full.
Yes.
I am always out there looking for deals, and I'm not going to stop because
I'm not saying you should.
I know that's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
people judge
So
that
so
positively.
when you have a funnel that is constantly full, constantly, it trickles out.
I know that.
It trickles out. There's hardly a month that goes by that I'm not announcing something.
you're always
because
doing
I'm
things, which is good for you.
because I'm closing a deal.
Yeah,
and
but-
if I'm closing a deal, the people that I'm working with want me to talk about it.
No, I know that.
They will talk about it. We talk about it together. And then
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know. So I'm saying that what I want to say is that it's really important to encourage women
Yeah.
to go out there to achieve their dreams.
Yes, of course.
You know, and as I'm achieving mine, I want to encourage every woman. They have that right to go out there. Now, I get obsessed with my work. I'm a workaholic. I work literally 24/7. I know I work more than I should. That's the truth. You know, I'm addicted to my laptop. I mean, I wish I was addicted to going. I keep saying to Kate that, Kate, I wish I was addicted to the gym the way you are. Yes, I try and keep fit into all of that, but my laptop and I, we're best friends. You know? So for me, that is why it works. And if anybody wants to emulate that, you're gonna have to put the hours in. You're gonna have to
see
put.
more women be inspired by what
Inspired-
they
that-
inspired by what they
exactly.
see.
That's my point.
Somebody
Most
who is
women are
succeeding
inspired.
doing.
You've got
They
to
should
put
use her as an exemplar.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
try and follow her trail. That's what men do.
rather than criticize.
That's what the men do.
Yes.
I think the ones
That's
that
what the
criticize
men
are very
do.
few.
I know somebody who
Enough.
said to me,
Insignificantly few.
you know, that you know what? I have been following Fola Adeola's footsteps since, you know, he founded GTB. I've just been aping him. I've aped the way he dresses. I've aped the way he talks. You know, and that guy has now become very, very successful.
Okay.
You know, so that's what we need to do. That's why I think role modeling is so
Yes.
important.
Role
So if you
modeling.
think role modeling is important,
And
why
women
should
should-
you be
yes.
upset when you see a role model like Mo and an exemplar like her
But there exists.
doing stuff? You should be saying to yourself, oh, I think, can I copy that?
Exactly.
And
In
copy
fact-
it shamelessly.
In fact, remember,
You know?
Amina,
Yeah.
that earlier we were talking, and you actually spoke about a man who saw you and your husband and did like this. As in, you mean you married this kind of woman? So I'm saying that even with men, it exists.
Yes.
There are some people who will not like you or like you and say, I cannot be with a woman that is that ambitious. I cannot be with a woman that is that driven.
I can't even be with a woman who is in the papers. Somebody said that to me. Whose picture is in the papers?
You know, so why are we pretending as if these things don't exist? They exist. There are those who rightfully should give you credit for your acclaimed successes.
And they
Both
do.
your
Not
successes.
everybody will.
And they do.
And they do.
And unfortunately,
They do.
there are also those who
don't.
Who don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think there are
life.
more people that do than those who
Yes.
don't. It's just that those that don't make a lot of noise.
Yes.
And as we all know,
And they're destructive.
And they're
And they're
destructive.
destructive. And they're destructive.
So another piece of advice I'd like to give is keep your eye on the ball.
On the ball.
Stay focused. Even when the distractions exist, I'm like, you know what? This is even more important now than ever.
Ever, yes.
For me to close another deal right now. So I'll be calling all my contacts saying, listen, when are we closing this one? What's happening here? And then the next minute you close, you're like, what happened?
Oh.
You know, and they never see, especially in your case, and I keep saying both of you because both of you are very successful. They don't see the sweat behind the success.
The
All they
sacrifice.
see is the success. Do you understand?
Because the amount of work they did at
Yes,
Whiskers
because the
last
amount of
week.
work that you do.
You don't have the
with-
exposure.
Please, there's internet there, so it's not a matter of they won't have the exposure.
Not everybody's
But
as
my
exposed.
point is that your successes should be given the credibility, should be given the attention that they deserve. There's no such thing as too much attention is being given to you. There's no such thing as you are promoting yourself too much. Do you understand? And women should use that negative energy to focus on it within themselves. That, if she can do it, then I can.
do it.
Do you understand? If anybody can, the sky
It's
is
hard
big enough for
going. I
everybody.
mean, and the thing is, even as much as I'm enjoying successes, I get rejections. I get people saying to me, you know
Yeah,
what?
challenges.
You know,
Exactly,
you get Mo
exactly.
saying, Mo, you know what? It's not quite the right time. And this is something that you've been working on. You are excited about it. You wanted it to happen. And it hasn't happened.
In fact, that's another question I want
You
to
know,
ask.
we run
How
out
do you
of
cope
time.
with
I want
how do
to
you
get
cope
one
with
question
rejection?
in.
How do you cope
with rejection?
You just cope. I'm the kind of person that if you reject me, I want to know why. Once I know why, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and try and now relook at whatever the problem was, so that by the time I'm taking that project out somewhere else, I've kind of tidied it up. So I say that you have your you have your dream makers and you've got your dream killers. Some of them are going to try and kill the dream, but take on board what they have said to you and then go back and revise it. And at some point soon, you're going to meet a dream maker that's going to say, you know what, I like this idea, Mo. This is that. And
The harder you fall, the higher you bounce back up.
It's feedback.
Yeah.
And for me, feedback is golden.
I take it.
That
so
is
it's,
so
it's,
important.
it's
I
how
take it.
you
Yeah, it's-
receive
yeah.
the information.
Oh, yeah.
It's how you receive the information and how you respond to it.
Absolutely.
On that note, I want to discuss Abigail Adams. She's from the 19th century. First Lady of John Adams, he was President of the United States. She was one of the women who stood up, established a movement to say women must support women. That was the origin of feminism. And she started a movement whereby if women are not listened to, if we don't have equal representation, if our voices are not being heard, then we're not obeying the laws that are created by men. And I want to ask you more, Abudu. My co-host kept saying you are very sensitive. When women approach you for help, yes, I'm sure you look at qualifications, you look at ambition, their drive, but what are the other characteristics that are essential? Maybe the communication, the way they approach you. How do you support the women you support?
I support the women I support by the women I employ. I mean, Ebony Life, every facet of our company, especially the holding company, our lawyers, we have 2 lawyers in the company, they're both women. Head of HR, woman. Accountant, woman. Senior producers, head of programming, Heidi, woman. You know, so we have a lot of women in our organization, and I think it's important to lead by example. So, and I'm not employing them because they are women. We are a team because they are excellent at what they do, and they go over and beyond. So that is, for me, that is the starting point. I have supported several other women. Kemi Adetiba, when Kemi did The Wedding Party, it was her first feature film. When Funke Akindele decided to first direct, it was her first feature film when we did Your Excellency together. And I have a ton of women that I work with, and I love supporting women. I really do, you know? But for those that believe that you don't want to, or they have their own problems, you know what? I'm like, you know, that's fine.
You're both two excellent examples of women who support women. Very proud of Whiskar. I'm very proud of the women representation in your company.
Anyway, Amina, thank you so much for being with us today.
Are we done?
Are we done?
No,
Are we done?
Yes. Did you think it was going to be 5 hours? I already warned you before we went on air. Okay, well, we'll have like about 2 minutes more. So I want to ask, Amina, if you were talking to your younger self as a woman, I'm going to ask you the same question too. Musmola.
Okay.
If you're talking to your younger self as a woman and going through what you've gone through in life so far, your insecurities, your securities, your obstacles, whatever, what would you advise your younger self? What would you say to her?
Well, what I'll say to her is that, look, apart from working very, very hard, you need to, as a woman, be a bit more strategic. I don't think women, at least in the early days of my career, I wasn't sufficiently strategic. I just focused on just doing anything I was given to do, doing it excellently, and that created opportunities for me. But I believe that if I had been a bit more strategic, and if I knew certain things, certain soft skills, if I had acquired certain soft skills earlier, which is
when you say soft skills, what do you mean?
I'm talking about
Mode of delivery?
Mode of delivery, effective communication, speaking confidently, understanding business writing, understanding essentially how organizations work, the dynamics of an organization, so that when you go in there, you don't just sit in your little corner and be doing your work and think that way you will understand, you will advance. Understanding political savviness, not becoming being a political animal,
correct.
but understanding the political undercurrents and knowing how to navigate and knowing how to avoid landmines and making costly mistakes that will slow down your career. So I would advise, younger women to also join support groups. I didn't have one when I was growing up. My support group was my family. And I'm blessed with a wonderful family of sisters, mother, father, husband, and brothers. So, but if you don't have that, make sure you join a support group. So I believe very strongly in female support networks.
Thank you so much.
I believe so much in other platforms and associations as well.
Thank you so much. So Mo, what will you tell your younger self? 1 minute, madam, 1 minute.
Yeah, my younger self, I would say that follow the dream.
Yes.
Follow the dream. A lot of us, like when I decided I was going to get into the world of media, I'd already turned 40. And I was scared.
In fact, you left a good job.
I had an amazing job at Exxon. I left. So I would say follow your dreams, follow your heart, work hard at it. If your dreams don't scare you, the dream ain't big enough.
What was that your slogan that you used to
If
say for
you
yourself?
can think it, you can do it.
Excellent.
Thank you, my darling friend,
Love ya.
Abudu. And thank you, my darling sister, Amina Oyagbola.
She's amazing. I got to hug her.
Amazing woman.
I love this lady.
I know.
I love you as well.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
Thank you so much. I love you both. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you both so much.
for being here with us today on Perspectives. So thank you so much for being with us. Of course, the benefits to women, supporting women, can go on forever. If there's anything I have learned from that magic, it's this. Women need other women in their lives who will support them unconditionally. Women need other women who will root for them, love them, value them, and stand in their corner no matter the weather. Snuffing another woman's light out will not make yours stronger. It never works. Rather than spend time looking at another woman negatively, look at her positively and look for an impact that she can make in your life directly or indirectly. And always remember, life is a learning curve. That's all we have time for you today. You've been watching Perspectives here on the Rise News with me, Ruth Osime. See you next week.
Thank you, co-host. And now the final wrap-up for today. We must all commit to fostering an environment where every human, regardless of gender, can attain the highest potentials possible as we continue to challenge societal norms to shape a better world. The key to a better world today is pushing our individual and collective dreams as progressively, ethically, and as humanely as possible. Our world needs a much stronger dosage of humane equality, healthy love, and widespread happiness. My name is Olatorera Majekodunmi-Oniru, and I love all things greater humanity. Thank you for watching Perspectives. Have a very great weekend. See you all soon. Goodbye.